Hello and welcome back to the Peculiar Place podcast. We are back again with my husband, Tye.
I made the cut, it seems.
You made the cut.
But is this the final tryout?
This is the final tryout because Mandy comes back next week.
So it means that I'm just done. So this isn't even a
done.
tryout. It's just, okay, my trial period is done.
I'm sure you'll be back again. You'll be like Mandy's substitute.
So I'm on the bench.
No,
I'm on the B team.
It's a good thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it a good thing?
And I don't think you like fully being on the podcast every week anyway.
I do enjoy it. I actually do.
But
I really enjoy being able to spend time and just joke around and have fun. But I do say that comfort level wise, I belong behind a camera, not in front of it.
No, you do a good job, but I know you wouldn't want to be permanent.
I mean, it'd be fun. I get to spend time with you.
Anyways, Mandy is back next week. She's going to be telling everyone about her whole birth story, like I hinted to you guys about. It's quite dramatic. It's not normal. It was both scary and it was also frustrating. Like I said, she had a whole argument with a nurse, which wasn't too fun.
It was a wild one.
It was a wild ride. So that will be next week, so stay tuned. I'm excited to have her back. But before we get into the nitty-gritty here, we're going to be going into like trending topics as usual and Valentine's Day superstitions, weird traditions, and even some offensive things about Valentine's Day, okay? So that's coming soon. But first, we have an exciting announcement. We have just launched a Patreon page. We're super excited about it. It's just a way to support our podcast, to help us with the cost of equipment and rental space, and us Canadians just being totally real with you. As much as we post on TikTok and Instagram Reels and all those things, Canadians aren't paid like US citizens are. So our podcast really does need some support. Obviously, it's optional. Even you guys just watching right now is a form of support, and we really appreciate that. But if you would like to take it a step further in support for us, we do have our Patreon page that just launched. And so I briefly just want to go through all of the tiers with you. So the first tier is called Buy Us a Coffee. It's a way to support us without any huge commitment. It is $2.
Yeah, that's it. It's nice and easy. There's no huge obligation with that tier. It's just a small way to say, hey, like what you guys are doing here. This next one's on me, basically. The
next tier is called the supporter tier, and this is where you will see a never-before-seen podcast clip every single week. So this might be an unheard story time. It might be a topic that's not super safe for YouTube. It could be a crazy discussion that we want to have. Just any extra bonus clip that will only air for our patrons will go up once a week. And so this week we actually have a really crazy story time going up. My mom and I had a really strange, honestly, it didn't even seem real, interaction with a waiter at a restaurant. I told Tye about this story and he was like, "Are you sure you weren't being pranked?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so."
Well, we should just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
If you want to see it, join us on Patreon.
Right, so that is the second tier, so weekly new videos on there. Our third tier is the peculiar tier, so just like the previous tier, you'll get a weekly video. You will also, every single month, get a signed postcard from us. It'll probably usually be signed by Mandy and myself, unless we have...
I can sign it if you really want to.
You could sign it as well.
I don't think anybody wants my chicken scratch of a signature.
I think they would.
Do they?
Yes.
It's only 3 letters. I gotta say, you're not getting very much from me.
On the 15th of every month, we'll be sending out these signed postcards. So just make sure that you're a patron by the 14th of every month. That way on the 15th, we can send it out to everyone who's already subscribed. If you sign up after that, you'll be getting it the next month, if that makes sense.
Yes.
You will also receive a monthly discount code on jessiivee.com that you can use on any purchase. And you will also have access to any photos and posts that we make on Patreon. And then lastly, our top tier, this one is called the producer tier, and we've actually limited this to 100 patrons. So once we hit that, there is no more unless someone backs out and then there's like an extra room, if that makes sense.
First come, first serve,
yes.
And there is a limit on how many spots are available. So we capped it. I'll let you go through the details because my contribution to this was helping with naming things.
Yes, he named all the tiers.
I think I did a good job.
You did. So, of course, this contains all the previous benefits of the other tiers. Plus, you will get a credit at the end of each of our podcasts. Just make sure that if you are signing up for this tier, it's at least by Tuesday of every week because we edit early in the week, and that way you'll be in it by Thursday.
A little bit of behind the scenes knowledge here. We're filming on Monday. We usually get it done Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's up on Thursday.
It's up Thursday, so it's a quick process of editing. You'll also be able to participate in exclusive polls and Q&As. You'll be able to send in your ideas for podcasts, which is really, really cool. So those are all 4 of our tiers. And like we said, it's not essential. It's just optional. We're going to link it down below. We'll also put the link on the screen right here, but it's patreon.com/peculiarplacepodcast if you're listening. And yeah, thank you guys so much. We're so excited about it, and we really appreciate your support.
We appreciate you just watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, whatever platform you're on. We appreciate you guys listening in and viewing in. So.
Exactly. All right, so we're going to get into some trending topics today. The first one I actually cannot believe is even real.
I'm concerned about this.
I think you know which one this is.
Is it? Because you tell me just so many random things every single week that I don't know what's going to be thrown at me in these.
Demi Lovato.
Okay, yes.
Demi Lovato sang her song Heart Attack at a Heart Association event. I am cringing so hard right now. The embarrassment is so real.
It's secondhand embarrassment, and I feel like that can also just be worse. Like, I intentionally avoid like TV shows and stuff like that make me feel this way. Why is it always Demi Lovato when it comes to like situations like this?
I know, she's always up to something.
You know, good on her for doing what she does, but come on, give it a little bit of thought here. Like,
I know.
Just
the song is called Heart Attack. These people are struggling with all kinds of heart issues. A lot of them have had heart attacks.
What you're saying is like this was a larger convention for people or supporting survivors and family members of people who've undergone heart conditions or have unfortunately passed away due to heart disease, heart attacks, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, I assume. I haven't looked deeply into what this association is about, but I do know it's based on your heart, right?
Most people attending these things
are
most likely struggling with something like this, have lost family members because of this, and it's probably already a very sensitive subject to be in this situation, just reliving these moments. Yeah, you're probably getting a lot of support from other members of this group and all the people that are working with it, but being yelled heart attack constantly by the musical guest is probably not the best move.
This is how she introduced the song, okay? This is the quote. While my next song is about the intense feelings that come with falling in love as well as heartbreak, opening yourself up, taking risks, and not being afraid to do it again, this song has many parallels for me, my journey, and a reminder for all of us in the room just how strong the mind-heart-body connection is. Okay, great. At any other concert, that is a great opening, right? Mm-hmm. For this Heart Association event, it is still called Heart Attack, and you're still scream singing, I think I'd have a heart attack, over and over as the chorus goes.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make any sense. So there's been a lot of feedback. Someone said, I think heart attack should have been left off that list, considering there was a room full of people who have had heart attacks, like we said.
Yes.
People are struggling at this event, and I mean, there's all kinds of footage circling around right now on TikTok and stuff, and she literally, as she's singing it, she like goes up to each person and like sings it in their face, and they're sitting there like, okay.
Yeah, that's I'm
insensitive.
Sorry. Demi, you need somebody to maybe go through some of the decisions that you're making for larger events like this.
Who approved this?
Like, if it was just Demi, then you need somebody to help just, be like the bouncing board, basically. Say, hey, I have this idea, and let them, maybe let her know that, hey, that's probably not the best move in this situation.
Yeah. To give her the benefit of the doubt, she probably was like, okay, it's a heart association event. What songs do I talk about hearts, right? And she chose this one, which obviously was not a good choice, but she was probably thinking like, well, heart association, we need to have a heart in the lyrics. But heart attack, Demi?
Yeah, probably.
Heart attack?
Probably not, no. If she does have somebody who is being like her hype man saying, yeah, go for it, you need a new hype man. or
Yeah.
hype person, because that's not a good move.
And you can tell in all the footage that everyone is just staying completely still as she sings. There's no jumping up and down. There's no dancing. No one's like raising their hands up, like singing along. They're all just like completely still.
See, I have members of my family who have undergone a lot of heart issues.
Yeah.
Both of my grandfathers, one of them unfortunately passing away from a massive heart attack. I wouldn't want to be listening to that at an event where all of those feelings are kind of cropping back up again.
Yeah.
So
this is super specific, but if anyone's ever seen Flight of the Conchords, it is a very indie show. Not a lot of people have heard about it. It's so funny. It's Jermaine Clemens.
I feel bad. I'm terrible with names.
I know. I don't remember the other guy's name.
Hilarious,
it's a comedy
but it's
show.
also very dark comedy.
It's about two guys who are trying to start a band, right? And they want to be popular musicians, correct?
And I mean, like, they do comedy music, and they're really talented. Like, they actually travel around as the Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah, if you like office humor, like from The Office, this show's for you. It's that very awkward humor, which I do really like. I don't know if you like it too much, but I love that kind of humor.
I do.
But we're bringing it up because they had an episode where they went to perform kind of at an association for epileptic dogs.
Yeah. And they're singing the song, and then they say, okay, remix time, and start flashing a bunch of lights. And you don't see anything. You just hear stuff from outside of the building.
I can't even say that fast.
And yeah, like you just hear all the dogs just whimpering afterwards because.
So they chose a bad song at an association, and it reminded me of Demi.
Yeah.
Because why would you choose to have the lights flashing at an epileptic dog event?
And why would you choose to sing a song called Heart Attack at a heart attack survivor heart association place?
Right.
Yeah. Not cool. I'm sorry.
That's like me going to a Lyme disease event and they're singing about the color green or something and limes and...
Well, I mean, like...
That's not too bad.
Well, having Lyme disease myself, it doesn't come from limes.
I know, but what a weird thing to sing about if you went to one.
Yeah,
you know what
if
I
you
mean?
had a very descriptive song about ticks and stuff like that, people would probably...
You tick me off. Imagine they sang a song that's the chorus.
Some people might be like...
You really tick me off.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
Good luck, Demi, with trying to work this one off.
Yeah.
Everyone is freaking out because TikTok has lost a lot of its music, which is essential.
Like their library.
Yes, the library has pretty much been wiped. So after Universal Music Group and TikTok failed to reach an agreement on licensing music from UMG artists on the app, sounds from those artists, including Taylor Swift, Drake, and many other popular artists, went silent. People are now dancing to silly copyright-free music to make fun of the fact that the library's gone. It's pretty funny.
I feel like that's the right call to be doing. Just go for it to royalty-free music. Because I feel like that's going to be more entertaining to see.
It's definitely entertaining, but it's going to get old fast.
Probably.
Because the music is annoying, but it's funny.
How long do trends actually last on TikTok? Like a week? Maybe 2?
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks.
So, I mean, they're not going to be doing it for too long. But, I mean, you got to use the tools that you're given at this point.
But it's crazy because this app, like, it started as Musical.ly. Because you had the popular music, people were dancing to it, and dancing is still really popular on the app. If you don't have mainstream music, what is the app going to become? Like, is the music coming back? Like, people are really worried about it.
I think it'll be fine. I honestly think it'll be fine.
It doesn't bother me because I don't do that.
Yeah, so... I don't use TikTok at all. My experience is basically snuggling up in bed with Jess and telling her to show me the funny ones.
Yes.
And that's about it.
Which is like mainly animal videos.
Sure, it's probably most popular for like the dancing with the music and this, that, and stuff. And it's definitely probably going to affect a little bit of their back end. Yeah. But ultimately, like TikTok has so much content on it. Like we post on there too. And like there's other podcasts, other little snippets, even news, I'm pretty sure posts on TikTok now. Like little tiny short stories and stuff like that. It is so much more than what it was in the beginning. I think they're going to be okay with it.
The issue is that the TikTokers who only post like dance content, who are known for that, all their videos have been muted. So they're upset.
Unfortunate.
And I understand that frustration because as a content creator, like that's a lot of work that you put into it. And then all of a sudden, like it's muted. Like
that really sucks. It really does. And I've seen a lot of content creators, even on YouTube, especially a couple years back, we had issues with, I think, DMCA striking.
Yeah.
Where companies could basically go on, even if they did not own the music, and strike people willy-nilly
Oh, yeah, I
because
remember that.
they gave companies too much power.
Yeah.
So all people had to do was make basically fake corporations and start claiming people's videos.
Yeah.
And that was terrifying, even though we would use like the music provided on YouTube that was royalty free, we would get striked for it.
Yeah.
And 3 strikes, you're out. I think it's 4 now. But like people were terrified because you could get your channel shut down for this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how TikTok is, but yes, I do understand completely how frustrating that would be. Spending your time figuring out these dances, and like I know people probably look at it, it's like, oh, it's just people just like, yeah, I have 5 minutes, let's just dance around to popular music. I guarantee you they put a lot more thought and work into it than that.
Yeah.
Because you got to analyze trends. You got to figure out what people want to see. Dancing's hard. There's a reason why I don't dance.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
No. I look like just like a wacky waving inflatable tube man.
Yeah.
That's kind of my go-to.
It definitely takes talent. Like, I know a lot of these TikTokers get made fun of and people think they're silly sometimes, but like these things do take talent. Like, I got to give them that. Like, not all of us
Yes.
can dance and do backflips and all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There has been a viral Elmo tweet, which is interesting.
Quick question. If Elmo is brought up in any situation, does your internal monologue switch to Elmo for a little bit?
I can hear him talking right now in my head. Oh.
See, I wish Elmo was one of the voices I could kind of do, because especially being a bigger guy, being able to do a really high-pitched voice.
Elmo.
I mean, that's pretty good. I'm not even going to try it, but that would be great just to open up a phone call with that.
Elmo made a tweet.
Did he now?
Elmo tweeted, Elmo is just checking in. How's everybody doing? Now, people did not hold back.
Well, that's the first mistake of the internet. You don't ask people how they're doing.
Exactly. We're all on a struggle bus right now.
Everyone
okay?
is.
So,
and like that's the one thing that I think the entirety of the internet has in common. We're all struggling.
yeah, so I'm going to go through some of the responses that Elmo got to his sweet tweet. Not feeling too tickled about life right now, Elmo. Another one. Elmo, I'm suffering from existential dread over here. Elmo, each day the abyss we stare into grows a unique horror, one that was previously unfathomable in nature. Our inevitable doom, which once accelerated in years or months, now accelerates in hours, even minutes. Elmo, I'm gonna be real. I am at my limit. Not gonna lie, I'm tired, Elmo. A lot's going on, little red. And then Dr. Phil replied with, we got issues.
Dr. Phil did.
Yes.
See, I was hoping that Elmo would respond with like just a classic, Elmo thinks you all need therapy.
No. Okay, so Elmo wrote another tweet afterwards because this was all over the news. Elmo was even doing interviews. Elmo was everywhere. Okay.
So they were interviewing Elmo about this.
Yes, because his tweet went viral.
I feel like that's a lot of pressure to be putting on a puppet.
So Elmo wrote another tweet soon afterwards. He says, wow, Elmo was glad he asked. Elmo learned that it is important to ask a friend how they are doing. Elmo will check in again soon, friends. Elmo loves you.
Was this tweet brought to you by the letter D for depression?
Yes.
Or A for anxiety?
That'd be funny if you did that.
I feel like Elmo would have gotten in a lot of trouble for that.
Oh, I love Elmo, though. Like, something about this makes me emotional. It
Well,
really does.
I mean, I did learn how to read from the good old-fashioned See Same Street.
Sesame Street.
That's how it's
you
called?
Get to Sesame Street. You didn't think it was See Same, did you? Did you think it was See Same Street?
I mean, that's what it looks like.
Sesame Street. What do you mean?
I'm only kidding. It's okay.
I hope so.
I feel like I'm in a precarious position here. Am I actually kidding, or am I just realizing something from like nearly 30 years ago?
This is the craziest Titanic fact that I've ever heard. Okay? The Titanic crew, like while they were filming, were drugged. On set. They were all drugged and hospitalized.
Like, I'm pretty sure in that like kind of line of business, there's usually illicit materials kind of working their way around, but
Not on set of a movie?
Jess, you've heard some of like the stories of like Harry Potter.
Well, he was just drinking.
I know. There's a little bit of substance abuse going on in these kind of situations.
Okay, here's how it went down. On August 9th of 1996, on the film set in Halifax, Nova Scotia, when craft services provided clam chowder, it happened to be spiked with PCP.
That's the first mistake they made, is trusting the clam chowder from Halifax, Jess.
I love clam chowder.
Oh, it's so good from
Not
there.
with PCP.
We had it when we were there, just
Yeah.
like last year. It's so good. Hopefully it was not spiked.
That's my thoughts on that.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. You've officially heard Jessii sneeze on the podcast. It sounds like
I'm surprised it's the first time.
It sounds like a cartoon character.
So PCP makes you hallucinate.
It does a lot of things.
Makes you get really wacky, obviously.
You probably should not be taking it.
After people ate this soup, they started to get very, very hyper. And James Cameron, who is the director of Titanic, right? He began running up and down the hallway saying, "There's something in me, get it out."
Was it the entire screenplay for Avatar?
Probably.
Maybe this was the inception of that story. This very moment.
Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet weren't on set that day because they were filming, one of the current scenes where they're diving down in the submarine to look at the Titanic. You know how it's past and then it goes to present
when
with the old lady.
When you said current, I was thinking of water currents, and I was like,
no. Past present. Present is probably a better word. So the crew was hospitalized and they never found the culprit. Never. Could you imagine? How would you go back to set when no one has been found and just continue eating craft services?
Well, I mean, you hire a different company. That's usually how it goes.
Do you think it was someone in the crew or someone from Kraft?
It could honestly be anybody. Listen, I worked in a restaurant before. It takes a very certain kind of person to be able to last long in those situations. And I mean, some of them can be a little crazy.
James Cameron has talked about he's tried a lot of drugs. And he's been very open.
He does not look like the type 2 have tried it.
I know.
He looks like some guy's uncle. He probably is some guy's uncle, but...
I think, and don't quote me on this, allegedly, I think he talked about doing DMT even. I think...
Isn't that the stuff that Tool would take all the time, and that's why they have, insane music?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he found the screenplay for Avatar.
Maybe
in the middle of the jungles. In the middle of the jungles.
In the jungles. Yeah, he's talked about doing a lot of different drugs and bad experiences he had and good experiences he's had and all kinds of stuff. I'm pretty sure. If I'm thinking of the right person.
I
don't quote me, but I think James Cameron. Avatar is pretty trippy.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about it.
It definitely is. He did Terminator 2, didn't he?
I don't know what he's done.
Terminator as well. I think he's done the Terminator movies.
I don't even know what he looked like until last year. But he looks the same as he did in the early 90s.
Probably all the DMT.
He's just always been an old man.
He just stopped recognizing time.
He stopped aging.
Yeah, he just said, this whole time thing, I'm not going to do it anymore.
I want to talk about Groundhog Day because...
Are you talking about the Bill Murray movie?
No, just the day. I want to know why. Why do we do this to the groundhogs?
I have no idea.
So it's a tradition observed regionally in the United States and Canada on February 2nd of every single year.
They don't do it anywhere else? I thought this was a worldwide thing.
I don't think it's worldwide. Here's how it works. If a groundhog emerges from its burrow on this day and sees its shadow, it will retreat into its den and winter will go on for 6 more weeks. If it does not see its shadow, spring will arrive early. And apparently an early spring has been predicted this year, which is nice, I guess.
Weren't you showing me a bunch of the stitches and shorts and all those things that people have been making on TikTok? And
yes.
Different groundhogs are saying different things.
Right, because it's regionally.
So which one is the one we listen to?
Well, the one we listen to is predicted in early spring.
And then I guess the other one's wrong.
But that's what I don't get, because if it's done regionally, they can all just decide whatever they want. But in the end, the weather can only work one way.
It's to a degree. I mean, we've had instances where here at the studio, it has been complete whiteout snowstorms. And then, we go just outside of town lines and all that stuff. And there's nothing.
I mean, that's true.
But I feel at least temperature and all that stuff would be a little different.
What I find hilarious is that people are making these weird TikTok compilations of people holding up groundhogs in the air and cheering for them. And there's this rave music going on. And the groundhogs are what's going on?
Every single time they televise these things, there are hundreds of people attending to see this groundhog.
And I've never gotten an invite, nor have I ever seen an event posted anywhere for these groundhogs, because maybe I want to go one year, but I've never heard of it.
I'm pretty sure I've seen actually one of those groundhogs. Don't know what the name of them
Wyerton
are.
Willie?
I think it was Wyerton Willie, yeah.
He died, didn't he?
He did.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure there was also one that was albino for a while.
Okay, cool.
And I think the one that you're mentioning that predicted an early spring was Puxatawny Phil or something like that.
So who's naming these things?
I don't know, but how do I know the names of all these groundhogs is my question. I feel that in itself is a theory. Why do we just know these things? And also, why do these events Why are they exploding? And yet nobody I know ever goes.
That's the thing. Like, some of these events
And
have
we're
thousands.
close to these places.
There's thousands of people going sometimes.
The people who are like translating for the Groundhog, they're always dressed up in like top hats and long jackets. It's like a secret society.
Okay, but the thing is, like, if there's thousands of people waiting outside this poor groundhog's den, what if it's retreating because it has stage fright?
It honestly could be.
I would be doing that. I'd be like, who are all these people? I'm trying to chill today. I'd be scared.
What if the Groundhog just has like a panic disorder?
Social anxiety.
It just never leaves, ever.
Exactly.
It's a hermit. It just wants to stay inside and watch movies. Then is it just going to be forever winter? Does the climate actually respond to these groundhogs? Are the groundhogs responsible for our weather?
They could be.
Or are we just all making this all up?
I don't know, but I want to trust the groundhogs. I think they know what they're doing, and I trust that we're going to have an early spring.
Climate change is a thing, and it's already warming up here.
That's true. So it's right.
Maybe back in the day when they were doing this, like, say, 100 years ago, when things were kind of unpredictable, you know, it's probably hard to determine for the groundhogs. But I think now these days, it's always early spring because it's just getting to the point where winter is getting shorter and shorter now. And that's kind of scaring me a little bit.
Speaking about animals, can I talk about the drama that I had with the Toronto Zoo?
Was I around for this?
Yes.
Because I feel like I remember a little bit of it.
I love capybaras. Okay.
Oh yeah, I know where this is going.
I love them. Every time I go to the zoo, every time I see a picture or video, I cry. I'm weeping. It is so real for me. They are my favorite animal of all time. I'm literally gonna cry right now.
They're basically hamster horses.
They are so cute.
They're huge, Jess. They're as big as you are.
Anyway, back in 2016, the Toronto Zoo, they had 3 newborn capybaras, okay? They were the cutest little things I've ever seen.
About the size of a regular hamster.
They were so tiny. They were so cute. And they put out this little thing that was like, listen, we're going to start a vote for these names. So all I had to do was submit the names I wanted for these 3 capybaras. I chose Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Adorable. Isn't that a good name?
Yeah, like there's not very many trios.
Exactly.
Or famous trios.
Exactly. So I thought that was genius.
But I will add into this point, you did use your power as a YouTuber to try and get those votes up.
100%. And I will be honest about that. Here's the thing, though. When you submit it, it's public, right? And then people in Toronto get to vote on like which 3 names they like the best, okay? And yeah, back in 2016, I 100% had a large YouTube following, and they didn't say I couldn't talk about it. So I went online, I went onto my YouTube videos, I went onto Instagram, and I was like, hey, if you guys want these capybaras to be named Snap, Crackle, and Pop, here's a link. You can vote for the names that I put in, okay? Now, at first, it was public knowledge. It would show the votes, right? And it would have like a little graph, and it would show who's the top, who's the second, who's the third, right? So every single day, I would log on, and I would be like, oh, let me see how many votes we got. We had thousands and thousands, and mine was at the very top, okay? And there wasn't even a competition, right? Mine was ahead by thousands of everybody. And there was like one more day for this contest to be over. And guess what the winner gets? The winner gets to go meet them, okay? They get to go to the zoo, cut the little ribbon for their little new like house, and like officially be like, hey, their names are Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Like, I would have gotten to do that. It would have changed my life.
You can all see how invested she is in this.
I will never forget this.
This happened probably about 6 years ago.
2016 or 2017. One of those.
That's 7-8 years ago.
I knew I won, right? Like, it was like the night before. I was like, wow, I have like 10,000 more than anyone else on the list. The people that were second to being at the top were the members of Rush, okay? I don't know what their names are, but there was 3 of them. Do you remember what their names are?
I don't remember their names, but as a Canadian, this is where you made a mistake.
And we'll get there, okay? The 3 members of Rush were underneath me, and they were losing. Like, they were not even close to me. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, the Rush members, great, but I'm gonna win, right? It's like hours until the final, like, reveal.
Where the tally is counted,
right.
Basically. Like, where voting stops and they announce
right.
it.
And I'm already on my social media. I'm like, guys, like, we won. Like, I'm so excited. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for voting. I log back on, like, 2 hours from the reveal. They have privated the numbers and the graphs. So you can't see how many votes are there anymore. And suddenly, Rush is ahead of me by a lot. You're telling me in 2 hours, after Rush has been up there for 2 weeks, suddenly, 2 hours before the final reveal, they're ahead of me by a long shot and the numbers are privated? And so I knew right away because I went on to the Toronto Zoo Twitter. And listen, I love Toronto Zoo. Don't come for me. If you want to say this is alleged, blah, 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 that's fine. I went onto their Twitter, and them and Rush, the verified Rush Twitter, they're like reposting each other. They're talking about playing a show at the Toronto Zoo. They're talking about how excited they are the capybaras are named after them, blah, blah, blah. I knew it was all a publicity thing. I knew they were in cahoots with each other. I knew I had won and they still chose Rush. And here's what's frustrating. Just name them after Rush and don't have a freaking contest. Why even put a contest on there?
Because
if
they
you're just
got
gonna choose
so
Rush?
much traffic
They didn't realize.
by having this vote. And they probably wanted it to be the members of Rush from the beginning. But in you came to disrupt their plans.
They weren't ready for me.
And they had to panic. As I was saying before, this is the mistake any Canadian should not make, and that is to go against Rush. You're not going to win. Rush always wins.
And they would have, because they were directly second in place. So if I did not come in and disrupt everything, they would have won. And they probably wanted to make it seem like everyone in Toronto chose, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what they went with.
Wasn't there a little bit of juicy information that you learned?
Yes, I'm not going to say any names, and this is allegedly, because I don't want to get in trouble. Someone...
She says while rolling her eyes.
Because I don't want to get in trouble, so allegedly, blah, blah, blah. In my opinion, someone DM'd me, and they were a staff member at the Toronto Zoo, and they said that they were behind the scenes, listening to everything, and they had wanted, like you said, Rush to win from the beginning because Rush was going to play a show there, and they wanted it to be a huge Canadian band capybara thing. They weren't expecting me to come in and do the vote, and I had, in fact, won, and they had to private the numbers. And in a way, I kind of felt validated, because I was like, I knew it. But at the same time, it was frustrating because, like, they didn't follow through, and I haven't been there since.
To kind of quote Star Wars here, this is how democracy dies, with a capybara name vote.
I am competitive, too. And, like, we put so much effort into this.
You think.
I am so upset.
This is nearly 10 years ago, and she is still mad about it.
I have not been back to the zoo. Invite me back and let me name a capybara, and all is forgiven. I will even come on here publicly and apologize and talk about how much I love the zoo.
They're going to contact you now.
I will be...
They will make you shake hands with Rush.
No. I don't want to talk to Rush. I don't want to talk to Rush. I want to shake hands with the capybara. Invite me for that, and 100%. I will do anything. I will go and be the face of the zoo. As long as the animals are treated nicely and everyone's good.
I would like to hope that they are.
I hope so, too. I will have to investigate first, and then I will become the face of the zoo. Anyway.
What's the next topic?
That was a long tangent, wasn't it?
It was, a little bit.
Okay, I'm shaking. I'm so passionate about that. An asteroid the size of the Empire State Building is passing by Earth on Friday.
When they say passing by, how close?
I mean, not super close.
Technically, you can say something is passing by, and it's like thousands of astronomical units away.
Listen, it's close enough that they had to let the people know.
So is that within the moon's orbit? Like in between that?
I don't know. I know it's not dangerous, obviously, because no one's panicking. They just say that you can look outside your window at a certain time and literally see it passing, which is terrifying.
Like during the day, or do you need like a telescope at night?
No, I think you can actually see it with your eyes. I just don't know what time of day it is. I don't know how far it is from Earth. I just know it's passing by Earth on Friday.
A little scary.
Well, the Empire State Building is ginormous.
It is, but also if it's really far away, it probably looks very small.
But it says this asteroid was discovered in 2008, and it won't be back our way again until 2032. So they've had their eyes on this. Did they say it's going
to be passing by us in 2032, or they said it's coming back and
it's coming our way?
We're not dodging this one anymore.
What does our way mean in 2032?
If you honestly think about like the chances of an asteroid hit happening with the vastness of space, it could be both considered very unlikely and also very likely just with the sheer amount of stuff that's floating around in space.
Well, that's what I wanted to know. Like, we've never had a giant asteroid.
Why do they always tell us when it's just passing by? They say, oh, it's passing by. It's like, oh, we've known about it for like,
Since 2008.
Since 2008, so it's a long time. Like, if we have an asteroid coming in and this thing is a planet killer,
Well,
like, are they going to tell us?
Probably not, honestly. I've actually heard different, like, scientists and stuff talk about this. They will not tell us if it is a killer asteroid. They will not. Because the last thing they want in our final days is for an uprise. People to freak out.
Like, how are you going to uprise against a space rock?
No, because people will freak out.
Because that's kind of indiscriminate. I understand trying to keep people calm.
And people will have nothing to lose. Like, those people who wanted to, like, do something crazy, they'll be like, well, I'm dying in 2 days. Let's do it. It would cause too much chaos.
Yeah.
So they would not tell us.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
That does. There's so many things out in space. Like, I'm surprised that we don't have these more often. I did hear it's thanks to, like, Jupiter, like, being, like, such a huge gas giant that it basically catches most of the dangerous asteroids that come towards us. But, like, I'm surprised we don't hear about this more often.
Well, yeah, I cannot believe Earth hasn't been...
Well, like, even looking at the face of the moon, like, you can see the craters of all the asteroids that hit it, right?
Exactly.
And we have craters on Earth, and we have very small, like, meteorites and stuff like that hit. Like, you see videos of that on all the time. A lot of them burn up in the atmosphere. And, like, that's what a shooting star is. It's like space junk falling in and burning up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm surprised we don't hear about it more.
We've had, like, little meteors and stuff. Little. Like, they're still bigger,
Like,
but...
I just saw a shooting star a few nights ago.
Yeah, like, we've had things reach Earth. Not Empire State Building level. Not even close. So I'm just wondering, like, when is that going to happen? You know?
I don't know. Maybe they already do know. They just haven't told us yet. Imagine.
Well, yeah, because if they're watching asteroids this far in advance, they could see one that's coming in 10 years, and they're kind of just like, well, we'll wait and see if it loses track.
I'm giving myself a little bit of a panic attack thinking about this stuff.
Sorry.
I'm doing it to myself.
Well, I brought it up.
You did. Probably shouldn't be talking about this when we both have anxiety problems.
But I think it's not a bad way to go.
There's never really a good way to go, Jess.
Imagine seeing it and, like, the whole sky just turns to, like, a rock.
Yeah, that's terrifying. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Let's not talk
Sorry about
about this more. Let's talk about something fun.
Okay.
Something tells me that the next topic, though, is going to be even more scary.
No. If you're scared of this, it's an issue. Burnaway cakes.
I am terrified. Thank you for bringing this up, Jess.
Burnaway cakes are the new thing. Every kid wants them for their birthday or really any occasion. And so the Burnaway cake has a layer of rice paper, which is set ablaze, and then it peels away to reveal another frosting layer beneath that has a real image or a design. So it's like a reveal. It's really cool. We'll put a picture if you're watching on YouTube. It looks interesting. Like, I would have loved this as a kid, honestly.
I feel like this is just horribly dangerous because the last thing we need is to make an even bigger fire on a cake, because I'm sure people have already either burnt themselves or accidentally set things on fire just trying to light birthday candles.
It's possible, but...
Now the whole cake is a massive candle.
Here's why I would have loved it as a kid. Do you remember, like, you always had an image on your cake? Or was that just me? Like, I would have, like...
I'd have writing.
Oh, I would have, like, Lizzie McGuire's face. I'd have, like, a Bratz doll. I'd have, like, a Barbie face. We'd always put, like, a full image. But when I was a kid, like, it was always hard for me to choose which one I wanted, because they had so many options. Like, we would go to, like, Dairy Queen or, like, wherever, and they would have an actual binder that you would flip through, and there would be hundreds of images they could print on the cake. So with a Burnaway cake, you can choose 2 or 3. You no longer have to pick one, because it just keeps burning away, showing the next one, burning away, showing the next one.
I'm just thinking how scared parents must be now, seeing as this is trending, and I guarantee you this is not cheap.
And, like, you know, kids are going to be like, I want that.
As an adult, I can go buy a birthday cake whenever the heck I feel like it.
You can buy a Burnaway cake
But
if you
there's a
want.
reason why I don't buy them all the time. Is because a cake now is like $70.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah.
I wonder how much these are.
Probably a lot more.
Yeah, it's a lot more work. Anyway, though.
We'll just leave it at that.
Okay, this isn't a trending topic, but this is embarrassing. I don't know any multiplication. I don't know my tables. I don't know my whatever they're called.
There's a table right here.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It's embarrassing. You know when people say, like, oh, what's 9 times... Not 9, so we're not going to do 9. When people say, like, what's 8 times 7? I have no idea.
8 times 7, Jess?
What is it?
56.
Okay, but you took some time. Some people are like they can just do it so quickly.
I was actually having a conversation about this at my aunt and uncle's yesterday.
Really?
My cousin was joking about the fact that teachers used to always say that you needed to learn math because you won't be walking around with a calculator in your pocket your entire life.
Well, we have our phones.
I know. They always told us
That we wouldn't have
we
one.
wouldn't have one.
And now look.
And guess what? Everyone has one now.
I want to just say, obviously I know my 10s. I know my 5s. I know my 4s and my 2s. 3s are a little harder for me for some reason. 1s, obviously. But I'm not good with like 6, 7, 8.
I'm surprised you don't know your zeros.
Okay, that too. I have a trick for 9 timetables
Okay.
that everyone should know. You put your hands up like this. Have you heard of this? I think I've shown you this.
You've shown me it, and I do understand it, but I don't like it. For people who
No,
are
it's
listening
good.
in, like Jessie's holding both her hands up with all of her fingers up.
I'll explain it. So
Yes.
you got your hands up like this, okay? Someone says 9 times 2. You put down your second finger, and then you have a 1 and an 8. So 18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Someone says 9 times 4. You put this one down, you got 3 and 6. So 36. And it just goes on like that. 9 times 5, 45. Like, it's so cool. It's so cool. And whenever I had math tests, you bet I'd be doing this and like putting my fingers down and fingering out my. But obviously, like after 10, you're screwed.
I mean, like
But this is 90 because 9 and 0. But like, you can't keep going.
99 is 11.
No, but I know actually, and 11s are easy to do. But like, you can't do like 9 times 14.
I'm not 100% sure if this works beyond like 100 and stuff like that, but I did that kind of mentally, but in a weird way. I learned from my 9 times tables that the sum of the two numbers at least equal 9. 9 times 2, subtract the 2, you get 1. That's your first number.
I don't
And how do you
understand.
get it to 9?
I don't understand.
Put 8 behind it.
I don't understand.
So
I don't know
1
what you
plus
mean.
8 equals 9. So that's how you know you're good.
Bean.
Times 3, so subtract 3, you get 2. And then how do you get to 9? 7. 27. I appreciate this. Thank you.
It's math.
Thank you.
It's not you. It is not you.
I feel like it might be just
It
a
is.
little bit.
Math.
I've put people to sleep with my talks. I have.
Well, not me.
This isn't new, Jess.
I do not do math. I just wanted to show that trick and let you know that if you're out there and you're embarrassed that you don't know your times tables, I don't know them either.
But I mean, I feel like it does work even up till 12 because 99 plus another 9, which would equal times 12, is 108. So 108.
You already lost me.
And then times 13 is 117. 117. Still 9.
I'm lost.
Still works.
Okay, this
It
is
still works.
This is a very emotional question that everyone should be asked.
How are you feeling right now? That's my
Elmo!
guess.
Elmo wants to know.
Elmo found out, and I'm sure Elmo's still working through that right now.
If you were in a room full of everyone you've ever known, who would you look for first?
You?
Aww,
Well, you're my wife.
I love that.
I guarantee you your answer would not have been that.
I wish I could choose like a handful of people because I feel like generally I would look for my family. Who is you? Who is my parents? Who is my sister? I think because I've always been protective over my sister, I feel like I would look for her first, knowing that you would be okay. Because let's say we were all just lifted into the air one day and thrown into like a dark room, and it was everyone who ever lived in the world, and we were all like, what the heck just happened? I feel like I would look for my sister.
And I would be lost in the darkness, Jess.
No, I think you would be okay. And then I'd be like,
I'll just be fine. It's like, he'll manage.
but I know her answer wouldn't be me anymore. I think it would have been
But now I think she has a little tiny gremlin there.
It'll
that
be
she'd,
Ophelia.
Want to take care of.
her baby.
I say gremlin as like a cute thing. I don't want people thinking that I'm being rude. I call every little cute thing a little gremlin.
Yeah. And I do not blame her for that. 100% it's your child. But yeah, I don't know. There's a sisterly bond. Obviously, you're my husband. And I feel
Yeah,
like.
but it's not nearly as strong. I know even till this
No,
day.
it's different. It's just different.
Well, apparently I don't have the bond like your books. You keep testing me constantly just to see if I know what you're thinking.
Oh, he's talking about how, like, in my fairy ACOTAR books, they can, like, speak through the
Can't
mating
do that.
bond.
It's the mating bond.
Yeah. Wait, try and think of what I'm saying right now. It's going to be.
I can easily think about what you're saying
No,
right now
no.
because you're saying it
Hold
to
on.
me.
I'm going to put a word in my head right now, and I want you to guess what it is because you're my husband. You should know. So the word is going in my head.
Dragon fruit.
Hold on. I'm not ready yet. The word is going in now.
Sandy beach.
That's 2 words, Bean.
Sandy.
No! I'll give you one more chance because I knew you weren't ready yet because I need to do a countdown first. Okay? I'm picking a new word. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Steve?
Who the hell is Steve?
Everyone is Steve, Jess. Everyone we ever met is named Steve.
Steve!
We have so many Steves we know.
Do you want to know what it was?
What?
Pizza.
Jess, you have like 17 favorite foods.
But pizza's the top.
Jess, you have mac and cheese like every other day.
I'm really upset. You should have known.
See, I'm in trouble already.
Okay, we are going to move on to some very weird Valentine's Day traditions. So while we celebrate Valentine's Day here, in Estonia, they celebrate Friendship Day, which I think is so sweet. And the word for it, I know I'm going to butcher it, even though my family is literally from Estonia, but it's sobraplev? Sobraplev?
Hand me the paper.
I
Let
know
me
I'm not
look.
saying it right.
Okay, there are way too many accents on that thing. Sobrapev? Paev?
Sobrapaev.
Yeah.
Sobrapaev.
I just heard you saying super bad all day yesterday trying to figure it out because unfortunately Google is not very good with their pronunciation.
Sobrapaev, I think.
Sobrapev,
Yeah.
I think.
My grandfather, obviously born in Estonia, my dad is Estonian, and so we had them send in voice memos of how to properly pronounce this word.
Sobrapaev.
That's my dad.
We got the really intense one.
Sobrapaev.
There we go.
I love the pause.
But what was great about it is that you messaged them without any context. You just said, hey,
Yeah.
pronounce this word for me.
Yeah.
So it led to some very confusing calls.
In Estonia, February 14th is all about celebrating friendship, and people exchange presents and cards with the greeting Happy Friends Day. And it's probably not what you've been wanting to hear from your crush or someone you want to date.
Yeah, that could be heart-wrenching.
Friend zoned. 100%.
Friend zoned the holiday.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if you want to friend zone someone, you say Sobrapev. Sobrapev. Sobrapev.
Are you trying to say it to me right now?
Sobrapev?
Hate to break it to you, kiddo. Unfortunately, there was a very legal ceremony that keeps me out of the friend zone with you. Happy.
Sobrapaev.
We're moving on to a Welsh tradition. Welsh men carefully carve spoons and present them to the women they are interested in. The designs they carve were symbolic and often had hidden clues. For example, the number of beads attached represented the number of children the man was expecting the beloved to produce. Expecting.
When you say tradition, like how long ago was this tradition?
It's been going on for hundreds of years.
Okay, it's not like from last Tuesday.
No. This is like an ancient tradition.
Okay.
But it's interesting how, like, the spoon would have, it's almost like Easter eggs of what the guy expects in the relationship. You know what I mean? Little hints.
It's not really an Easter egg. This is just basically like getting hit in the face with a spoon. It's like, this is what's going to happen.
We're going to have 5 kids, whether you like it or not, Betty.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I had a tradition with spoons in my family, and that was basically try and dodge it and not get smacked by it. My mom would always get like a soup spoon.
And smack you with it?
Not hard by any means. It was just more so the fact that it sounded funny if you like hit somebody right in the sternum with it.
Oh, so you weren't getting like...
No, we're not getting like spoons whipped at us. But every time my mom would be like getting ready to make soup, if I was in the room, she'd just go whack.
For fun.
Yeah.
For funsies.
For funsies. Not hard. Never hard. But yeah, you get smacked with the soup spoon.
Anyways, that is the Welsh tradition.
Happy.
Sobrapaev.
See, that one's just so much more calm, isn't it?
In France, I'm not going to pronounce this right. Maybe you should do it.
Maybe I should do it. Let's get the guy who used to speak French to horribly butcher this. Une loterie d'amour.
That's kind of hot.
It really wasn't. The only thing hot right now is the sweater and you.
Thank you.
Oh.
Okay.
Now we're getting romantic.
Yeah. This is a surprisingly unromantic custom. Hopeful singles would line up in houses facing each other and call through the windows until they eventually paired up. So they would literally go into the windows of houses across from each other in a suburb and would just scream like, I like you. I want to be with you. Choose me. I want to be your boyfriend. And,
I'm pretty sure I've
forth.
seen stuff like this in nature documentaries.
With birds?
Not with French people, obviously, but yes, with birds. Basically, birds just yelling at each other until somebody says, you know what? That guy's plumage right there. We're going to go with that one.
We need, like, David Attenborough to be narrating this event in France. Like, he needs to stand in the middle of the street.
Do they still do this, or is this something that they're just kind of not doing anymore? Because I feel like this is a very aggressive tradition.
Choose me.
Basically yelling at each other.
I don't know if they still do it or not. But it says those women left partnerless then build a large bonfire, ceremoniously burning images of the men who rejected them while hurtling insults into the sky.
How do they get the pictures of the people? Is my question. Are they sitting there saying, hey, let me smash, and then quickly take a picture of them with like their phone or their camera?
I don't know, but that is just a crazy way to deal with rejection. Build a bonfire, throw his pictures in it while screaming insults into the sky. Maybe she's even dancing around the fire, getting her frustrations out.
I feel like it's a very destructive and aggressive tradition.
Yes.
Yes, just a little bit.
But that's what they do in France.
The love lottery. Happy.
Sabra Baev.
In Slovenia, there is a belief that birds propose to each other on this day. And to bear witness to the occasion, you have to walk barefoot through fields that are often still frozen. So if you want to go witness birds proposing to each other, you have to go out in nature. I don't know why you have to be barefoot, though.
I guess so you're sneaky.
Oh, so you're quiet?
I don't know, but it would be very interesting to see a bird propose to another. Like, are they using like little rings, or are they getting like that
Aww.
shiny blue thing that they found in a parking lot?
But it goes back to the David Attenborough Planet Earth things where like the male is always dancing around with his feathers out.
See, I've seen videos where they have those clips, but they just have some random guy just saying absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, you like blue?
Here's some blue.
Here's some blue. You want yellow?
You want a ribbon?
I think you want some yellow instead. Yeah. Hey, look at these moves. Just dancing side to side.
That's the internal monologue of the bird.
Definitely. Happy.
Sabra Baev.
In South Africa, there is a festival called Lupercalia, where young girls pin the name of their love on their sleeve for the day. That seems fine, right? You're taping your loved one's name to your sleeve. Luckily, this is a much tamer version of the original festival at which goats were sacrificed and men would run through the streets wearing the skins, whipping women to bless them with fertility. That sounds chaotic.
A little bit.
And I am glad that that is no longer a thing. This is in South Africa.
Interesting.
So that is how they celebrate their Valentine's Day. It's crazy.
Happy.
Sabra Baev.
All right, now this one is the one that we are most excited about. The Victorians, back in the Victorian era, used Valentine's Day to express their emotions, and sometimes it was great. They would send their crushes and loved ones these beautiful letters, but for people they didn't like, and for people they wanted to reject advances for, they would send things called vinegar valentines, and these were the most offensive Valentine's Day cards you'll ever hear about. We're going to read some examples of what those were. A vinegar valentine was a handy way to rid themselves of unwanted romantic attention. The authors would outline all the things they loathed about the recipient alongside a caricature illustration.
In Estonia, we had Friend Zone Day. I know it's Friendship Day. In the Victorian era, there was straight up Get Away From Me Day.
Yeah.
Go over there. Imagine just getting one of these, though, because like back
Brutal.
in the day, like there really wasn't much else to do, and somebody thought, hey, you know what I want to do is really hurt somebody's feelings.
Brutal.
The smile that on your face appears, stretching your mouth to meet your ears, you think, no doubt, as sweet as honey, whereas, dear girl, it's only funny.
You think my smile's funny?
Sabra Baev.
'Tis a lemon that I hand you and bid you skidoo, because I love another.
Sabra Baev.
Imagine just like signing off all that stuff with that.
Parrot.
On account of your talk of others' affairs, at most dances you sit warming the chairs. Because of the care with which you attend to all others' business, you haven't a friend.
Sabra Baev.
Your evil tongue. Mal-
I was curious how long it would take for us to break.
Your Your evil tongue, malicious liar, is a public pest. To see you muzzled, fast and tight, would be to all a joyful sight.
Sabra Baev.
Like, all of these are just making fun of people's looks or the fact that they just gossip too much.
Has been.
That's it. Like, people just say that to each other now.
Sobra Bev.
You fancy, you display such grace. But how is it that, with such a face?
Sobra Bev.
You think yourself a picture. You are a sketch and paint. You work for hours before the glass to look like what you ain't.
Sobra Bev.
So they used ain't
Yes.
in Victorian era, apparently. Okay, I remember getting in trouble for saying ain't before.
I mean, yeah, it's not grammatically
No,
correct.
but so I guess it came from like the Victorian era's version of like epic rap battles.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
a throwback. I'm pretty sure they're even still doing those now,
We just had a Victorian era rap battle.
where we were just making fun of each other's
'Cause
faces.
it rhymed mostly.
It does. I mean, like, you probably saw the photos for anybody who's watching as we were reading them to
Yeah.
each other. Imagine on this day, you have somebody that you are crushing on, you're admiring,
Yeah.
and you get a card from them and you open it up and it is ruthless.
And especially if you're excited first when you receive
Oh, yeah,
a little letter.
because, like, I guarantee you're not getting this letter just straight up. This is like the Victorian era equivalent of like sending somebody something rude online because you don't want to tell them in person.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's pretty awful.
Like, yes, we're laughing about it because we're reading it to each other right now because these, it's like, it's such a mean tradition. I hope people
know.
don't do it to this day. If you don't want somebody following you around, you don't want to be leading anybody on, just tell them. If they
Always.
don't listen, you can figure something else out, but you don't have to be mean to somebody.
Honesty is the best policy.
It is, but apparently not in the Victorian era. I guess they needed to entertain themselves more from all their
Ruthless.
crazy things and
Ruthless.
like using mercury in hats and all that stuff.
They were just crazy. They
Yeah,
had too much mercury.
too much very weird beauty products that contained a whole bunch of other biological matter that is not safe.
Their walls were green, and in the green paint there was what's that chemical that starts with an A?
Arsenic?
Yes.
Yeah, that's just straight up
So
poison.
that's why they were doing this.
I'm pretty sure they would also bleach their hair with urine, which is definitely a thing.
Oh, they did a lot.
Yeah, that Victorian era was weird. Don't do this.
They had like acidic creams they would put on their face.
Yeah.
That explains
Yes.
why they did this. So those are all of the weird Valentine's Day traditions. There are so many more, obviously, but we'd be here forever. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like I said, next week, Mandy's coming back.
She is.
We're so excited to have her back. I have my 30th birthday party this weekend. It's not my birthday this weekend, but I have my party. And then on the 14th, on Sobra Paev,
Sobra.
Sobra
Paev.
Paev, I'm turning 30.
So you weren't born on Valentine's Day. You were born on Friendship Day.
I was
You were
in Estonia.
in Estonia. You weren't born in
I wasn't born in Estonia, but-
in Estonia, people were getting friend-zoned.
Exactly. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Don't forget, if you would like to join our Patreon, we are going to link it down below. Thank you so much for all of the support. And the first Patreon exclusive video will be going up. Actually, by the time you watch this, it will be up. So you can
Hopefully.
go check it up right now.
If it didn't, I messed up real bad.
It's up there. Link down below. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
See you guys.
Bye.